Hello, everyone. This is Rusty. Come to talk to you tonight about something that's very important to me that I'm working on and praying and believing God for, and that is to move in truth and not so much in facts. Facts versus truth is what I call this. And as a Christian, that means to be Christ-like. And if I call myself a Christian, I should try to be walk Christ-like and talk Christ-like. That's why he gives us the word, to meditate on the word, to renew our mind by the washing and the regeneration of the word of God. And so I'm going to be using John 8, verses 3 through 11 as an example of Christ dealing with facts and responding in truth. Because what truth doesn't work with condemnation. It brings conviction. And conviction transforms things. Condemnation and guilt both destroy things. And so as Christians, if we can learn, not just when we're out evangelizing or talking to people, but to talking about football, talking to our wives, talking to our husbands, talking to our kids, and speak with truth instead of facts. The example is Christ himself. Christ gives us an example of what transpires. Okay, so let's take a look at it real quick. We're going to start in John chapter 8, verses 3. It says, "Now the scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman caught in the act of adultery. And after placing her in the center of the courtyard, they said to him, 'Teacher, this woman has been caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. What then do you say?' Now they were saying this to test him, so that they might have grounds for accusing him. But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground. When they persisted in asking him, he straightened up and said to them, 'He who is without sin among you, let him be the first to throw a stone at her.' And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Now when they heard this, they began leaving, one by one, beginning with the oldest ones. And he was left alone, and the woman where she was, in the center of the courtyard. And straightening up, Jesus said to her, 'Woman, where are they? Did no one condemn you?' She said, 'No one, Lord.' And Jesus said to her, 'I do not condemn you either. Go. From now on, do not sin any longer.'" He didn't have to bring this long, explaining what was right and what was wrong. They all knew, And what he did to her was saying, "Listen, forgiveness is attainable. Just do your best not to sin no more." To them, he exposed their heart. Because that's what truth does. Truth exposes the heart. When facts are used, oftentimes what we find is it's almost a competition. I gotcha, and we're trying to win an argument. That's oftentimes what facts do. But and facts do not produce. It's just a way to get information out. But truth is tangible. Paul's a good example of this. Paul, before he got saved on the road to Damascus, he knew the facts, and he would stop the facts. But when truth was revealed to him, all this knowledge of the Word of God became alive and powerful. On my notes here, verses 4 and 5, the men brought the woman to the center of the court to test Jesus, spouting facts of the situation. And they said to him, "Teacher, this woman has been caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now the laws of Moses commanded us to stone such women, and what do you say?" Their whole hope was to test Jesus, to accuse him. There wasn't any truth in that. The fact is, yes, but their whole purpose was to get him. The response of Jesus in verse 7 was spoken in truth. When they persisted in asking him, he straightened up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him be the first to cast a stone at her." He exposed their heart. It brought conviction to them, so much so that the youngest ones of the accusers was the last to leave, because generally the elders had a little more sense about them. And they realized, I'm guilty. Jesus' response also brought correction for the accused and hopeful restoration. She had a choice to make. He looked at her and he says, "Hey, where are they at?" And she says, "Lord, it's just me here." And he says, "And there's no one to condemn you?" And she says, "No, Lord." And he says, "I don't condemn you either. But what I say to you is go, and from now on, don't sin." Truth versus facts. There's a lot in this lesson in this story that I didn't touch on. But my hope is that we, as believers, understand who Jesus is and what he has called us to be, Christ-like.